Hi everybody, my name is Kristine Gillespie and I am the Retail and Tourism Manager at Historic Huguenot Street. For the health and safety of our visitors and our entire community, Huguenot Street will be closed to the public for the duration of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, we still want to stay engaged with the community and continue to offer programming virtually. One of the many digital programs we will be offering on a weekly basis is a reading of an excerpt from one of our books in the museum shop. This week, we'll be looking at a fun and interesting recipes from the Women's Suffrage Cookbook. Originally compiled in 1886 by Hattie Barr, the Women's Suffrage Cookbook featured recipes from many of the prominent women of the time. It was created and compiled as a fundraising tool to directly support the women's suffrage movement. What is interesting about this particular book is that when it was published and produced by women for women without the involvement of men. This book introduced the world to women's roles within the home, but also showed the possibilities of what women could accomplish outside and in the workplace. Today, we're going to take a look at some of the more interesting recipes and notes in the cookbook. So we're going to start with the preface. It was written by Hattie Barr. And this was written on November 25th, 1886 in Boston. This little volume is sent out with an important mission. It has been carefully prepared and will prove a practical, reliable authority on cookery, housekeeping, and the care of the sick, especially adapted to the family use. While many of the recipes are original, it is not claimed that all are so. But each has been thoroughly tested and is vouched for as reliable by the contributor whose name is appended. Among the contributors, there are many who are eminent in their professions: teachers, lecturers, physicians, ministers, and authors, whose names are household words in the land. A book with so unique and notable a list of contributors, vouched for by such an undoubted authority, has never before been given to the public. So we're going to start our readings with a poem, and this is in the eggs and omelets section of the recipe book, and it's a poem that was submitted by Elizabeth W. Stanton, and it's entitled Breakfast Dish. Breakfast dish. Cut smoothly from a wheaten loaf, 10 slices good and true, and brown them nicely o'er the coals as you would for toast do. Prepare a pint of thickened milk, some codfish shredded small, and have on hand 6 hard-boiled eggs, just to right slice with all. Moisten 2 pieces of the bread and lay them in a dish. Upon them slice a hard-boiled egg, then scatter o'er with fish. And for a seasoning you will need of pepper just 1 shake, then spread above the milky juice, and this 1 layer make. And thus 5 times spread fish and egg, or bread and egg and fish, then place 1 egg upon the top to crown this breakfast dish. I thought that was a really nice way to start today.
I know, Mommy.
The next recipe we're going to read is from the soup section, which is one of my favorite things to make. This recipe is for mock turtle soup. Put into a pan a knuckle of veal, 2 calves' feet, 2 onions, a few cloves, peppers, berries of allspice, mace, and sweet herbs. Cover them with water. Cover the pan with thick paper and set it in the oven for 3 hours. When cold, take off the fat. Cut the feet into bits 1.5 inches square. Remove the bones and coarse parts, then put the rest on to warm, with a large spoonful of ketchup and the jelly of the meat. Add more seasoning if liked, and served with hard-boiled eggs, force meatballs, and a little lemon juice. This is easy to make, and the dish is excellent. Submitted by Miss Evie Plimpton. Now, I'm not sure if this is a dish that I myself would like to make, but I do want to show you what the recipes look like in the book. You can see they're all in paragraph form instead of what we're used to with our recipe cards. And there's also no definition of measurement with these recipes. You're not going to be seeing a quarter tablespoon or teaspoons or ounces or things like that. So they're definitely more open to interpretation. And I do think that everybody who makes these recipes, if you were to purchase this book and make it yourself, everybody's would turn out just a little bit differently. So The next section we're going to go to is a whole section dedicated to cooking and care for the sick and ill. And this is a recipe that caught my eye because I had no idea what it was, and I did have to Google it. So here's the recipe for toast water lemonade. An excellent drink for the sick is toast water lemonade. Make toast water in the usual way, strain, and with this, instead of plain water, make the lemonade and cool with ice. Dr. Lila G. Bettel. Now, if you're like me, you might not know what toast water is, and it's actually pretty much what the name says. You take slices of toast and you submerge them in water, and you let them sit for a period of time. And then you strain out the bits of bread that are left in the toast, and you drink what's left over the toast water or use it in a recipe, which is, something interesting to try. Our next part is coming from the section called Hints for Preserving the Health. And I thought this was really interesting considering the time that we are all going through right now with COVID-19 and self-isolation and social distancing and practicing good hygiene. Here are some tips from 1886 that would have been used to better your health and your general well-being, I guess you could say. These were all submitted by Lucy Goddard. Cold bathing with care immediately on rising will often ward off consumption and many constitutional ills, and is a fine tonic against all weaknesses, even mental and moral. There may be occasionally constitutional affections. If reaction does not take place at once and easily, the bath should not be taken. To guard against a threatened cold, call someone to rub briskly the back between the shoulders over the lungs. Handle and smell a bit of gum of camphor. Don't expose yourself, especially the back, to draughts of air. Eat no supper that night. For sleeplessness, rub with the hand in a downward stroke the base of the brain. A wet cloth is good. So these are measures that probably wouldn't be used in today's world, but at the time they were proven to be easy and natural remedies to heal the sick. Today I want to leave you guys with some words from some men and women who had thoughts about the women's suffrage movement and had been quoted about it. So in the back of the book, there is a section called The Eminent Opinions on Women's Suffrage, and I'm going to read you 3 of those. Abraham Lincoln said, "I go for all sharing the privileges of government who assist in bearing its burdens, by no means excluding women." Charles Sumner said, "In the progress of civilization, women's suffrage is sure to come." William H. Seward said, "Justice is on the side of women's suffrage." So those are our readings for today from the Women's Suffrage Cookbook. Starting this evening and afternoon, this book will be available on sale for a week up until April 8th for a 10% discount. It will be automatically applied at checkout in our online store. If you would like it shipped, we can ship it to you. If you're a local, we can arrange for a safe pickup. And I look forward to seeing you guys all at next week's reading. And please stay tuned for the rest of programming's virtual content. And we hope you guys are staying safe and positive, and we will see you next time.